Hello, world. Welcome to Americana. I'm your host, Willie Montague. This isn't the news they hand you. This is the story behind the headlines, the truth they bury. If you're tired of the ordinary spin and ready for real, you are most definitely in the right place. Stay tuned. This is Americana. All right, you guys out there, we have a show for you today. We're going to be talking about mandatory political clubs in schools. Then we're going to be talking about AI deepfakes, the digital age identity crisis, and then to wrap it all up, disinformation as a global threat. But we're not going to do this alone. Of course, we have with us a very good friend of mine, actually, Alex Stovall, a 21st century voice of change. Lots coming up on today's episode, but get your drum rolls ready because you already know what time it is. It's Willie's Take. All right, you guys, it's time for the rant, the Willie Take. One click, one swipe, one headline, that's all it takes to spark a crisis, to go viral. AI's rewriting scripts, crypto's crashing dreams, heat waves are frying Europe, and we're still scrolling. A sniper hits ICE in Dallas, a teacher's assistant wrecks a school, a bear hunt in Florida gets 139,000 signups, and we're still scrolling. The world is a tinderbox, and we're the spark. One choice, one move, one click, that's all it takes to set it off. And speaking about setting it off, I want to introduce to you all Alex Stovall, who is a U.S. Congressional candidate all the way from Arizona, 5th District, veteran and minister. Yes. So we're getting ready to get into the conversation about mandatory political clubs. But let's welcome Alex to Americana.
Hey, Willie, thanks so much for having me. Thank you guys for having me. Truly an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. Now, for those that don't know, Alex and I go way back, so this is going to be a great conversation. So we're going to have this conversation. In Oklahoma, every high school is now mandated to host a Turning Point USA chapter. I don't know if you know that, Alex. And so let's have that conversation. Of course, we know that Turning Point USA, for those that don't know, is an organization that Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated, basically been about 2 weeks now, assassinated, and now they are making it a mandatory civic club inside of the schools. What do you think about this being mandatory when we talk about civics in public schools?
Anytime I hear something that's mandatory, I get a little bit antsy and a little bit concerned. I wish they would make it mandatory to do financial literacy in some of the schools. That would be something I'd be full in support of. I think I'm concerned about it because this is America. This is the nation of freedom. This is the nation where people, well, one would say this is a nation where people are able to express all ideas, all views, all perspectives, and you kind of mesh it all together. And that's the beauty of Arizona and America as a whole.
Now let's tie it in. Now we know we have a lot of radical left agendas out there. So what they're saying this is to combat the radical left's agenda. But is this being mandatory? Is this a way of a school violating a student's free will because now it's mandatory, even though it may be coming against the radical left woke stuff? You know, what's happening? Is it taking away the free will of the student?
I think we've got to be careful with that. I think, to your point, taking away the free will of students, people in general, mandating that we do anything. Anytime I hear mandate, again, going back to 2020 when they mandated vaccinations and mandated that, any other issue I can possibly think of during COVID, and we can go on and on and on back through history, when they mandate things, the concerns and the burning dumpster fire that usually unravels itself from mandating American people to do anything, and American people's children more specifically. So I'm alarmed and I'm concerned about it. I did know Charlie. We spoke, we had conversations, but again, I'm concerned because we've come where it's a far cry from freedom to say that we're now mandating American people's children to do any type of curriculum.
And that's
Again, I'm a huge
important.
proponent.
That's important to note because I want to stay on that part where you talk about mandating because we were just having the conversation about free speech. We see what Pam Bondi stated, I believe it was last week when she was stating about hate speech, and you know that's been a big conservative thing. There's no such thing as hate speech. And so when we talk about that, just dive into that because you are a big proponent for making sure that youth of today has a voice, especially in the civic engagement. When do we cross the line as trying to are we end up going to look like the left if we don't be careful?
Yeah, it's a pot calling the kettle black if we're not careful. Just to your point, I think we've got to be extremely careful with mandating any type of regulation, any type of school curriculum, any type of rules or laws over the American people. While I am in favor of increasing conservative values inside of the schools in our communities, I do not say that we should be mandating anybody to do any type of curriculum unless it's financial literacy. So,
So right now where we are, what should we be giving to our youth of today? Because they're fed so much crap. So what should we be wanting our youth? You mentioned financial literacy, but what are some other things that we need to be looking out for? Because the radical left can basically say now we're indoctrinating the youth because we're shoving down a Turning Point USA chapter versus when they want to put things. So what should we be teaching them?
yeah, so I think, like to your point, financial literacy is a great foundation. One of the pillars, I would also say, the Constitution, helping people understand that the Constitution was designed to help American people be left alone. The Constitution is a document of booby traps for individuals that think they can exercise and oppress the American people. So, in, enforcing the Constitution, financial literacy, Christian values, what the nation was founded on, and reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's the only thing that I think we should be mandating in public schools at this point.
You know, an attorney, a friend of mine, mentioned this one time and said that the Constitution should not be rewritten, but it should be reread. And so, to your point, I think it is absolutely right because we have so many people who are trying to rewrite the narrative of what the Constitution says instead of just reading it and actually applying it and doing what it says. So, what does this mean for the future bipartisan discourse in America when we have now, again, we're taking it because after this whole assassination with Charlie Kirk, it seems that now we're taking that side of saying, hey, we just want you to have this information. So when are we going to just get back to just bipartisan, simple arithmetic, English, math, all the things that make up America and just focus? When are we going to get to that place?
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but till the cows come home is what I would say. It seems that way at times. I'm into building bridges and not burning them and asking for a yacht. I
Okay.
think there are a lot of American people that are out there that want conservatives and want the other side. I don't even know what I would call them right now. They're so in shambles. I really couldn't even. I think there's a remnants of Democrats left that actually want to pass policy and actually want to help veterans. Specifically in my district, we have a lot of veterans that need a lot of things and there's needs that are not being met. We have homelessness. We have huge development. We have economic infrastructure growth at levels we've never seen before. We have one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Arizona. And these are the issues that the Arizonans and people in their districts are concerned about. So I'm speaking specifically about my district, but in America as a whole, I think people are about building bridges now. I think throwing mud and flinging mud from one side or the other and pointing the finger has been a narrative that's gone on for far too long. We need people that are pragmatic. We need people that understand how to read policy, how to execute policy, how to decipher policy. And quite frankly, like you said, understanding when we're looking at a bill or we're looking at a policy, this is going to impact and affect the people that live in my community
Well,
forever and their children's children's
you're
children's
preaching
children's.
good, Alex. You are you're preaching good. Me and you have been out there all the way from the border to Mexico, everywhere we've been. And so, with that being said, can forced political engagement lead to genuine civic responsibility? Like, if we're going to force this, is it going to wake up a generation, or is it going to put them back to sleep? And I'll give you about 35 seconds if you can answer before we go to a quick commercial break. But is forcing this going to make a change?
I don't think it's going to make a change. I think it'll be a firecracker movement. quite frankly. I think it'll explode, it'll be loud, it'll be exciting, and everybody will look at it and say, ooh, look at this, and then it'll fizzle out if it's not done correctly. I think mandates is not something I'm in favor of, but I do think that there's a way that we can go about this that's going to be Christ-like, that's going to bring the communities back together, and really it's going to be the conservative values that are going to be the champion values that echo through the nations, in my personal opinion.
Woo, love it, love it, love it. Well, okay, you know, Alice is not going anywhere. He's going to be back with us as we get on this quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere out there. We'll be back with Alex Stovall, and then we're going to be talking about AI deep fakes, not sweepstakes. So you're not getting no money over here. We're getting ready to talk about what's going on with AI, but we got to go on a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, social media family. Thanks for staying with us during this commercial break. Don't forget to follow us on all of our platforms. And remember, you can catch us Monday through Friday at 6:30 p.m. sharp, only on Comcast Xfinity, channel 1623. And of course, I have a question for you on this Good Thursday. How much involvement should our youth have in civics? Leave your answers and your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's get back to the show. Y'all know I got the bars. Let's get back to the show. Americana, you know who this is. I'm your host, Willie Montague, and we have with us today Alex Stovall, all the way from Arizona. Let's talk about the AI Deepfake. A viral video demonstrates Face Swap AI, an app that can alter appearances in real time during FaceTime calls. Alex, what in the world is going on? The FBI is warning that 30% rise in AI-related fraud is going to take place by the end of 2025 with a $10 billion issue. What are we going to do? Now, you are a person who is a vet, so you've probably seen some things. What are we going to do in society when we have AI that is now able to swap faces and fraud is going to be risen by the end of 2025? What do you think about this?
Well, for starters, I would say get a screen protector and get a camera protector as well. AI is out of control. I think in 2017, I actually had a conversation with one of the legislators from DC and one of the legislators from Arizona just about NVIDIA and just the capability NVIDIA had in 2017. And let's fast forward to where we are today. If we knew what we knew, back then, where would we be now is the ongoing theme that I've heard in DC and I've heard in the state of Arizona. The problem with AI is there's not any checks and balances. And I think this is what Congress and this is what state legislators are trying to get their hands on. We've got to create a system and some sort of boundaries for AI. I'm in favor of it integrating into Amazon and delivering packages and maybe watering my garden, but to swipe and take my information in seconds is asinine to me. The fact that this is even happening in the nation.
Pause right there, what you just said about that. I like the whole part about water your garden, but let's get back to what Congress, because this is where the issue is, because Congress right now is like they're fighting like kids, cats and dogs. And so how can individuals, because right now legislators may not be doing anything real time anytime soon, so how can individuals protect themselves against all of these AI-driven scams that are coming? I believe that some of that is even driven with the text messages I've been getting lately too. So how can individuals protect? I know you see screen protectors and stuff, but what are some other things that we need to look out for, can protect ourselves? Because AI is not going anywhere, so how do we protect ourselves?
Well, AI is imperfect, right? It's going to make mistakes. Pay attention. I mean, pay attention. I can't emphasize that enough. Pay attention to what you're reading, pay attention to what you're clicking on. Phishing is not something that is unfamiliar to the American people. The email that says, "Hey, I need you to send me $5,000 in exchange. I'll give you $1 million and route it to this
Yeah.
accounting number or my PayPal account," things of that nature. So understanding that these things are around, they're getting smarter, they're getting way more precise, and it's becoming more dangerous because now they're targeting, your kids. You give your kid your cell phone, they go and play video games, and then before you know it, your credit card gets charged $5,000 and you have no idea what happened.
Now pause
So
on
I
that
think it's
on the video
important.
game part. Sorry, but pause on that video because people don't realize that even with that, there's a lot of stuff with human trafficking. But we'll get to that. But I want to ask because you're going to Congress. So when you get to Congress, do you believe there should be stricter regulations on AI technology to prevent misuse? And if so, what type of bill on a federal level can help safeguard these things?
I would say a bill that we could potentially propose is something like the Adobe, for example, has a security code that gets sent to your email, sent to your cell phone, things of that nature. Those are all codes that are unique to the user. I think that's one way to do it. Adobe has it. I think Microsoft has it as well. So adding extra security, so two-step authentication, everybody hates it, but I think that's one step in the right direction. And I think Congress really needs to mandate that organizations and businesses that are in corporate America actually mandate there's a two-step authentication process. I think that's a step in the right direction.
Now I do not like two-step authentication. I be trying to get this stuff together and then I'm like, it's sending a code, the phone way on the other side. I got to get up to go get the phone, but I get it. It's for security measures.
But
So
it's effective. It's
it's
effective.
for security. I got to get up and move and not be lazy. What does this mean for the future of digital trust and security? What does this mean for us overall for the trust and security of our nation?
I would say we all need to get used to understanding that technology is here to stay, AI is here to stay, cryptocurrency is here to stay, and how to protect ourselves is getting familiar with the technology that they're offering and understanding the parameters and the security measures that they offer. I use Coinbase as an example. I was almost hacked the other day. Somebody tried to get into my Coinbase account and transfer Bitcoin, but because I had a secure cell phone, they sent a verification code to me and said, "Hey, if this is you who's trying to make this transfer, send us this code. If it's not you, contact us." So it's a secure process. Cryptocurrency can be secure. So, you pick up the phone, they say, "Hey, this much money was meant to be transferred. Did you authorize that or did you not authorize that?" And if you didn't, then they help you get a new account, they help you make it more secure, and then they add more and more security walls, so on and so forth. So there's
Now,
ways to protect yourself.
Now, before we move to the next topic, our final topic of today, when we get off here, Alex, make sure you transfer some of those things to me. But moving on, moving on, disinformation as a global threat. We have been seeing it all over, and we know that the radical left likes to say that the right is always bringing disinformation. But the World Economic Forum ranks misinformation and disinformation as the top short-term global risk for 2025. Are we losing the war on truth? That is a huge question. Alex, do you have a huge answer for that question?
Yes, to that question. We are. And that's predominantly because we don't have enough people actually getting out there and echoing the truth. It's very easy to tweet, but you got the World Economic Forum, you said it best. They're spreading disinformation, they're saying global warming and that the world is melting and cloudy with a chance of meatballs, is kind of what I would say. I don't necessarily know why they would even I'm amazed that the World Economic Forum is still going. That's what I'll say. I think of when I think of World Economic Forum, I think of Disneyland, and not in a positive way. I think of the churros that are 4 days old. Your feet hurt. You've been running around with your kids, and then you get that churro, and you're disappointed. That's what I think of when I think of World
Now,
Economic
speaking
Forum.
of disappointment, should the government control speech to stop lies, or does that become censorship? So, speaking of some 4-day-old churros, is the government stepping in on our speech? Is that going to be censorship, or is that going to stop lies?
I think it would be censorship. Second Amendment or First Amendment, excuse me. First
Well, we
Amendment
need
is
the
freedom
Second
of
Amendment
speech.
too to help us with
Yeah,
the
we
First
do need
Amendment.
it. Yeah, I'm military in me, right? I just factory reset right back to Second Amendment. Protecting
But and
freedoms.
this is the key, because I always tell people we're going to need our Second Amendment to definitely one day protect our First Amendment. So I want y'all guys to think about that. Some of y'all may not like it, but I'm all for get her done. Who sets the fact checkers, elites or the people? That's something that when I look at all the things that posted, I went through a big thing, I think like a Sunday ago, and I was like going, and all I kept doing, it was because, oh, you're like basically telling me I was posting too much political stuff, and it kept stopping my ability to monetize. And so who is behind these fact checkers? Is it the elites or is it we the people? And I think we all know this, but it's just, what do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah. 100% it's the elites. I mean, I find myself having hard times monetizing my information when I try to promote my platform and let people know, hey, financial literacy. I'm a financial coach in the district. So one of the things I do is teach people how to understand and recharge and trade the stock market in Arizona. It's perfectly legal. I help people every day, and it's a lot of fun. But again, it's the elitists keeping us and inform keeps them in power. So the more we can echo information and give access to information to the American people, the more the power will return back to the people. So that's kind of what I would say about that.
Now, here's a big one, Alex. Do tech platforms deserve immunity? Because we see immunity thrown around so much. We see it with the law enforcement, we see it with the big pharma, and now here we got tech companies. Do you think they deserve immunity after they help spread disinformation?
You talking about technology companies that are spreading disinformation?
Yeah, big. We got Meta and all this because they help to promote these narratives.
Oh, 100%. No, they need to be held accountable. This is the midterms or the midterms of accountability, in my personal opinion. For far too long, we've let people get over and get around, and even you see Zuckerberg today. Now, over the last few months, he's leaned more conservative, and now the platform is different, and he's changed things about the platform, and that's all because he understands that the American people are now holding everybody accountable. And the more people that are aware and watch shows like this, that are paying attention to people that are talking about what accountability looks like and how to get information and access to information, I think America's going to be in a better place than we are today.
You're right. And, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but literally in 2020, we saw that. Like, they were literally stripping the ability for us to speak about what could really shape and shift the election. And that's why I believe it was stolen. Y'all can write me off for that anyway. But I want to thank you, Alex, for being with us today on Americana. And I'm so proud of you and so glad that you are stepping out there and putting your hat in the ring for Arizona. But you guys out there, that is a wrap for today's episode of Americana. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. You already know, same time, same place, only on AFRO TV. But until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and for God's sake, please keep showing up. Have a great night.